All right, what is up, guys? Hardcore here with part two of another one of our segments from WLF Unleashed, episode one. That was a kind of a disaster because of all the audio issues. So we had a great second part with Tim Durr the other night on the points for the World Fling Golf or the World League Fling Golf season. And tonight or this afternoon, we get the opportunity to revisit a segment that we really wanted everybody to have an opportunity to get the most out of with Britt Hammond, called Off the Couch to FlingGolf Fit with Britt Hammond. Now, I don't know if she loves that title or not, but that's the one we got. So that's what we're going with. So everybody, help me welcome to the part two or the retake of our fitness section. Welcome to the show, Britt Hammond.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
All right, so here we go again. As I did with Tim, I gave the deuces sign for part two. So we got the audio worked out. Sounds much better. You sound much better. So all right. So let's jump in. The point of having you on the show the first time was not about you as a fling golf player, although we are very interested in talking to you about that later. But for this first one, it was, it's been a brutally long winter. It seems like longer than I remember in a long time. It's been below freezing. So it's been very difficult for a lot of us to do much in terms of training outside or preparation for the upcoming fling golf season. So who better that we think of than you with your unbelievable amount of background? You have every fitness certification, I think, under the sun that that's possible. I mean, the list you sent me, I'm like, I couldn't even get it all on one page. So that's a credit to your background and your knowledge. And you are there. I know that it's called something different, but you are based out of the American Classic golf course, correct?
Yes, I own a studio called Balanced by Britt Marie Fitness within the American Classic Clubhouse. And that's where all of the fun fitness things happen.
So, is there any story behind the title of your business, Balanced by Brit, or
Well, my original business name started in 2020 when I was teaching group fitness at the time, and everything closed down. And I had a few people reach out and ask if I was doing anything like online. So then I was kind of pressed immediately for trying to decide what I wanted my business name to be. And I had at the time my Instagram handle was Britt Marie Fitness, so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do that. And then over the years, I was doing mostly online stuff. And then I had the opportunity to actually build out my own studio at the golf course. And then I was kind of faced with, do I want to call it the same thing? Do I want it to be something else? And then I had kind of settled on I wanted it to be a little bit different. So I ended up with Balanced by Britt Marie Fitness.
that's awesome. So, like, one of the things I know that we first visited there for the American Classic last summer, and one of the things I remember coming home and talking to my wife about was like Britt does all kinds of fitness stuff at the golf course. Like, and I was just like, that was such a unique, cool thing. So tell us a little bit about, I mean, everything you do there. I've seen videos of classes. I've seen basically look like 5K run events. I've seen all kinds of stuff. I saw you dressed up in some kind of 80s Halloween outfit a while back. So tell us about everything you got going on there.
So obviously I still work at the golf course as well, but we like to incorporate everything all together. So we've hosted for 2 Thanksgivings now. We've done a charity 5K on Thanksgiving Day that people can come. All the money goes to a local charity that we designate each year. And that's been pretty fun, but you get to actually like run on the golf course. So
Yeah.
not many places that you're able to do that. We've done my first class I ever taught at the golf course was yoga. So we've been doing yoga on the fairways for about 6 years. This will be our 6th season of doing that outdoors once or twice a week, which is also pretty unique and fun.
So is that pretty popular?
It goes in its own seasons. Yeah. So some years are better. I would say COVID to 2022 was like really popular because people were a little bit nervous to be inside. And then it kind of slumped whenever people started going back inside. But then I would say in the last like year or so, it's definitely gained more popularity as like almost like a novelty to be able to go and do that.
Right.
I always tell people, I'm like, it's hot yoga, but you're outside, you're not inside.
How
uh,
about goats? Do you do goat yoga?
I have taught one goat yoga class,
I'm
not
serious.
of course, and that pretty much was a done deal for me after the first one.
Did it go all over the place? Like were the goats just everywhere?
Yeah, they jump on you. I have a notebook that I like to kind of just reference here and there to keep myself on track. They ate my notebook. They were chewing my yoga mat as well, and I was like, "Huh, I don't think this is for me," but it was fun one time to try.
So I know you've got a tremendous following up there. I mean, first of all, my wife and I are so jealous of the community you guys have built up there. Like if it wasn't so far, we'd probably visit just to come to some of those classes and some of those events. Like
Come
we
whenever
see,
you're in town.
I
Anytime.
know it's just it's really not a neck of the woods we like hang out in very often, but no. So we're like it's so cool what you've built there. Like, do you have? I know you've got the Fling Golf Fridays and those things, but do you have some fling golfers that also participate in some of your fitness stuff as well, or is it like two different groups of people?
So it's interesting. So I have some of the, now I guess formerly known as the Titans, or if we're still using that. Some of them participate in my stuff. So usually in the winter, I bring in some different speakers and that kind of thing for workshops. And I think like Brett has come to a couple like of mental performance kind of workshops. I know Amy has come to some of the yoga and some of the workshops. Austin has done some. Jack has done a lot as well. And some of them do classes, some of them do personal training with me, some of them do programs that I've already created, and then they kind of do it on their own time. So, yeah, I'm very lucky that a lot of the fling golfers in this area have been kind of using me as a resource. For all the things that I do, because not everything is just focused on like strength training, and not everything's just focused on yoga. I also have some like recovery certifications, which is super important when you're playing like all the time and you're sore, and then you start to get kind of that delayed onset muscle soreness, and then you're stiff and you can't really play to the best of your ability. So
Yes. So listen, and I know people think I'm probably full of it, which I understand, I get it, but like when the weather is good and we have enough daylight, so when we get into that window of the season where it's not getting dark till 9 o'clock, like I throw 200 balls a day and I play 36 holes. Now
wow.
I don't play 36 in terms of I don't walk the course twice, but I play two balls for 18 holes every day and I walk. So like I get it. Like it's a lot to recover sometimes. And like what I find most is like the next day it takes probably the first 25 or so balls before I start feeling like I'm throwing normal.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, if you have like past injuries, then you're also dealing with those on top of the normal stiffness and tightness that you might be experiencing from playing that much, because that's a lot of throws, especially if you're going like full out most of the time.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's a lot.
recovery very, very important.
All right, so listen, I want to play. I didn't play it at the beginning on purpose, but I want to play the original intro we made for you before we get into the fitness specific stuff, because I would like you to explain the audio clip that comes with your intro. So everybody, we're gonna do Coach Britt Hammond here, our fitness coach. We're gonna do the original intro we put together for her. Here we go.
What is the typical deficit that you utilize in training? whatever the boys doing plus some.
And then I said, how hard can it be? Boys do it.
Yeah, they wanna know how to get like me. Dream so big that I cannot sleep. Put in that time and I put in that grind. The best in the world. That's
All right. So listen, I found this. I didn't create this. I found this on the internet, which just proves nothing ever dies on the internet. So it literally says it's asking you about your training, and your response is whatever the boys do plus some. So tell me about this mentality.
That actually came from a CrossFitter, actually the number one CrossFitter in the world in the women's division. She had that audio clip, and then I had kind of clipped it out and used it after the CrossFit Games last year. But I guarantee I am doing more in terms of health and fitness than any of the guys are. That's a call out to them. If I'm wrong, send me a message, but I don't think I'm wrong.
Even your boy Showtime?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I taught Showtime everything he knows for health and fitness. So
we're going to get behind the scenes just for a couple seconds, because what I really wanted to know is, so does he really do all the work that he lets us lead to believe he does, or is he kind of making it look really good on social media, but maybe not as much work with you as we think he's putting in?
So he works with me twice a week for 60 minutes. He is a dad, so he's got 2 youngins, so it's hard to make time.
Going off with that too.
Oh yeah, Navy is the toughest coach. Let me tell you, she makes sure he works out. She'll be like, she'll go, "Daddy, did you let Aunt Sissy kick your butt today?" And he'll be like, "Oh yeah, she did."
Nice.
Yeah, he's in the gym at least 2 days out of the week, and then not to give away all his secrets or anything, but he normally does putting practice every day. And then if he can play every day, he does try to play at least 6 days, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not lying. He's trying.
All right. So let's perfect transition. Let's transition then to what we hope to get from you today for definitely the Harveys, but also other FlingGolf family members and other FlingGolf community members. And that is, number one, first question before we get into specific, what's your thoughts on, like you just heard the nuttiness I do, which is probably far too much, but like, what do you think a good balance is between training in terms of physical training to prepare for FlingGolf and actually, the on course or the drills or practice with actually the FlingGolf skills?
Well, I do think it depends on the player. And what your strengths and weaknesses are. I would say minimally, my recommendation for everybody is minimally 2 days a week doing some type of strength training. And then pretty much, if you can do 5 to 7 days, I know that sounds crazy, but 5 to 7 days of some type of stretching, recovery, more on that like mobility side, yoga if people like that. Just because, especially with FlingGolf, you need the strength, but you also need to be able to keep that length in the muscle. So let's think of like a bicep curl. So while you're doing 30 bicep curls in your workout, you're contracting that muscle the whole time and it's getting shorter. So then whenever you're stretching or doing yoga or long hold stretching, it's trying to elongate back out that muscle. So the main muscles in the body, you want to make sure they're not getting over tight so that you can still maintain that muscle length for distance and for strength as well. But I would say the ball end of it, like throws and stuff, again, depends on how sore you get too. Because if you're getting really sore and tired, you obviously don't want to like wear the body down too much. Everybody's recovery is a little bit different. But I would say putting you can easily do 5 to 7 days a week as well, even if it's just in your living room.
Yes, 100%.
Chipping practice, again, same thing. You could probably do chipping practice with the putting 5 to 7 days outside. You don't have to do that much, but that's just what you could do.
So are you telling me that my motto of throw through it, meaning the pain is probably not the best motto.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you never want to, again, like wear the body down to the point of like full fatigue and exhaustion. But again, your recovery could be different. I know for me, I can't play every day. Like that's not going to be something that my body allows me to do.
I got you.
But I can do other things like the strength training, the yoga, walking. Walking's great practice as well for the tournaments. I don't think a lot of people think that actually helps kind of condition you for tournament play, but it does really make a big difference, especially around some of these big courses.
I want to piggyback on that because, like, again, there's some fantastic Masters players, and I want to piggyback on that because I think sometimes this fitness piece, because a lot of times in tournaments we do get to ride. However, I can say from what I've witnessed in playing in 8 tournaments or whatever I played in last year, like towards the end of the second day, and I'm going to get specific down to the last 5 holes, I can see a difference in some of the Masters players' abilities between the rest of the tournament and the last 5 holes.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like there's way more to some of this fitness, and I realize that we don't walk the course, but there's a lot of walking still involved.
Yeah. And it's overall, it comes down to like stamina as well.
Yeah.
And from my player experience, I know that the last day, it starts to get tough, especially on those last 5 holes mentally, not even just physically. And the formats were, a little bit different in the last year too. We had some tournaments that was that 18 and extra 9 in the same day. And then there were some tournaments where there was the 18 and then the 18. I know for me, the 36 or not 36. What is that?
54
plus 9. What's 18 plus 9?
27.
Math has never been my strong suit.
Wow. Listen, I need my wife to join the segment right now because she can't add either. So you guys could just be on both sides of me going, what is 18 plus 9?
27 hole format. That is like the most challenging for me because you are so mentally dead after your first 18. If you've been trying to, make those hard calls for yourself on should I putt this? Should I chip it? Yeah. Should I throw risky? Should I, try to keep it safe? And then you have to go immediately into a 9-hole playoff that decides the winner.
Right.
I mean, that's grueling, especially if we're walking like at American Classic. But if we're riding, it's just as tiring because it's the mental and the physical. But the more you walk, the more you strength train, you can kind of start to increase that capacity and that stamina so that when you get into some of those really long, tough situations, especially when it's like 100 degrees, you can last the full time.
Well, listen, I'm going to assume that John Prulidge is going to watch this at some point. So John, if you're listening, whenever we do 18 plus 9, which for Britt and my wife is 27 holes. Listen, the Masters players cannot sit around any longer than 30 minutes at the most because it just all starts locking up, man.
No, you got to start doing that recovery. You got to start stretching, keeping yourself warm. Yeah.
Again, those times, and I know it's the same for everybody, but those times that we've played 18 and then kind of had a little bit of a lunch break and you've actually sat down and maybe got something to eat and then go back out, like them first couple holes.
It's rough.
It's rough. So,
I agree.
All right. So let's jump into some specifics. Folks, what I've asked Britt to kind of put together for us, because I know a lot of folks get overwhelmed with fitness programs and, they start diving in and then all of a sudden before you know it, they feel like there's all these dominoes that have fallen on top of them and then they do nothing. So I've asked Britt to kind of give us the 3 main areas that she feels are the most critical for FlingGolf fitness specifically, and then 3 exercises inside each one of those 3 areas. So Britt, that's 3 times 3. That's 9 total things.
I can handle it. Yes, I got that.
So first of all, start with what you think the 3 categories are that would be the things we need to focus on.
So the muscles used in fling golf, in my opinion, obviously there's not been any like giant studies on it, but just what I've experienced in my own body, and then what I've also worked with other people in trying to enhance their throws and stuff. I would say your big main areas that are used is going to be your legs, so your lower body, your core, so everything kind of through the middle section here, and then our, hang on one second.
You're good.
And the lats. So your back a little bit. But the lats are kind of right here on the side. But that's what really helps you with kind of that twisting and pulling motion. So those are the 3 main areas I usually try to focus on if I don't have time for anything else. So in terms of strength,
so why don't you get into like the legs specifically then? Can you do that and talk about 3 things like that would be things we could all work on for just the lower body legs? And a lot of it I think is explosive as well as strength. So like I look at, fast twitch and slow twitch type muscle type things. And to me, at the point of throw, there's definitely some fast twitch muscles that are involved.
Yeah, so you want to focus on one exercise that I really like to do for lower body strength and power is goblet squats. That's going to train your quads, that's going to train your glutes, and it's going to help a little bit with mobility at the same time. But I like those because they kind of hit more than one area. I also like to work on a pelvic tuck and tilt. So that might seem like something that shouldn't matter. But working with golfers forever, I've actually found that that does make a big difference in terms of your being able to twist the hips, being able to have mobility throughout the hips, to be able to get those fast twitch muscles firing off. So that's basically like if you were looking at the hips straight on, it's being able to tuck and tilt the hips forward and back. And then normally I like to add in side lunges as well, because that helps laterally, hits all those little tiny muscles on the inside and outside of the legs, as well as still focuses on the glutes as well, which is where a lot of that power comes from.
All right. So the second one, the pelvic tuck and tilt, like what does that actually look like if you're performing an exercise to work on that? Or is that the name of the exercise?
That's the exercise. Yes. So something that's very common that I'm sure most people will have done before that involves a pelvic tuck and tilt, but it's a little easier to do it than just standing, is a cat and cow stretch. So if you've ever done like cat and cow where you're on all fours with your back is flat, and then you do a cat stretch where you're like arching your spine up to the ceiling, and then you do a cow stretch where your belly is sinking down to the floor. It not only helps with your spinal mobility, but also you're doing that pelvic tuck and tilt without having to think about it too much.
Okay. All right. So then that takes us to category number 2, which is?
That's going to be our core. Super important. Core muscles. I know you love to hear that.
We have to talk about it. Can we just skip this section? Like I normally, I do really good with like some of the cardio stuff and walking and treadmill, and I love the Peloton. I like to ride the bike, but like if I have to skip something, it's gonna be abs, like whatever. And
so your core is not just your abs. It's going to be anything that's basically on your trunk. So anything from below the chest, all the way down to the hips, and all the way around. So for that, you can do a couple things. Right off the bat, top 2 is going to be a high plank. Planks are great for your core stability, as well as it also trains a little bit of upper body and also helps with that stamina. So I recommend doing high planks, and you always have the option, if you can't do a high plank, you can do it kneeling as well. So you can just keep the knees on the ground, hands on the ground. The only thing is you want to make sure your spine is nice and straight and that your butt is not sticking up in the air. That's the only thing. That is what I would start with first. And that's, accessible for most people just because you don't need any equipment to do that. And then followed up by my favorite, Russian twists. So that's taking either a dumbbell or a medicine ball, sitting on your butt, and then going side to side. So that's really good for working on some of that rotation that we use in FlingGolf. And it's stretching the muscles, but at the same time, strengthening them as well.
Well, listen, section 2 all sounds awful. I'm just going to be honest with you.
You would rather do legs than do core?
Yes.
Wow.
100%. Yes.
Not me.
Like, listen, and like, here's the thing. I have done this where we kind of got, like, we're probably like everybody else. We go in phases of kind of getting in pretty good shape, and then we get out of shape, and then like all this. But like, I don't mind it as bad once you kind of get back in shape. I feel like then it's more something I can do successfully. But like, I think it's the struggle, because I feel like I am failing at every core exercise I do. It is just horrific. My technique is horrific. The outcomes are horrific. And
it's all about trying. It's just about trying.
I feel like I'm flopping around on the floor, honestly. That's what I feel like. So,
you're definitely not alone in that thought. But the more you can, the more you train it, the better it gets. It just takes a little time.
Yeah, it's that window of starting to when you kind of get better at it. That's a rough go for like core. Like, and again, that's just maybe for me, everybody else, but like, that sounds, come on, hardcore. That's ridiculous easy.
It is. Everything is a core exercise. Technically.
Great. I'm doing great then. I'm doing great. All right. So the last section then for our off the couch to FlingGolf Fit would be covering what area?
So talking about stretching. So we need to stretch. Everybody needs to stretch. I think this is an area that most people skip. You say you skip core. I think most people skip the cool down, the warm up, the mobility work. I feel like everybody passes on that and just gets right into whatever they're working out pretty fast.
Well, now, just to be clear, in my mind, core and stretching are the same thing. So when I tell you that when I skip core, it's going to include this also. Okay.
So we need to work on this. But so I wrote down 3 stretches that I think everybody should begin with. And these are, again, very accessible. All you need is just some floor space to work on these. But the first one is going to be open books. So similar to our Russian twist, we're working with some rotation. The open book stretch is going to work with your upper body rotation. So laying on your side with your knees together, and then basically imagine your arms are like opening a book. So you're opening all the way as far as you can, trying to keep the shoulders as close to the ground as you can, and then coming all the way back closed. So I recommend to do that 3 times on each side and hold it for about 3 breaths or so on each way. So that's the first stretch. Have you done this before?
So I'm not supposed to hold my breath the entire time?
No, breathing is key. You need to breathe the whole time. That helps relax the muscles, actually. It really does. It does big things.
That's great. For those of you that can do that, that's wonderful.
So those are open books.
Okay.
I also recommend working on some side bends or side stretches because that's going to stretch those lats that we work with when we're throwing. So even just taking hands over the head and taking that side stretch so you feel that full stretch from your armpit down towards your hip. You can do it seated or you can do it standing, but really good for working on lengthening the sides of the body. And then lastly, I've got our low lunge with a twist. This one, I have to say, most people probably don't love, but it's very valuable because it adds the twist in for rotation, but it's also stretching the lower body and those hip flexors that get like super tight. So, and glutes as well. So if you do like a low runner's lunge, like you're in the starting gate, getting ready to go sprint, and then with that knee that is forward, whichever. So if your right knee is forward, we're going to lift our right hand to the sky. So left hand stays on the floor, right hand lifts, and you're in that nice low lunge position. And just holding that for a couple breaths and then switching sides.
That sounds great. So listen, I'm going to tell you, it was probably a year ago now, but my wife had me try this exact exercise or stretch that you just described.
Okay.
It took me longer to get into the position to do the exercise than I felt like I would. Anyway, so you'll
I
understand.
hear Taylor laughing in the background.
Oh, yes. She is off to the side here.
I'm coming in. No, I have a question.
What's the question?
Cameo appearance. You two can look this trashy with almost no effort. Anyway, so not everyone is hardcore as we are.
Mm-hmm.
We just
as I am.
Well, right. So I guess my question is.
There you go.
I guess my question is, for those people who are afraid to start because they're like, if I just do all of these exercises, then I'm so sore I can't move for the next week. Is it better to ease in or just, go full force and suck it up?
That's a good question. So I would say you can always start with the stretches. And I'm not going to say that people won't be sore from the stretches, especially if you haven't done any sort of work with lengthening even through the side body or with the open book twists or anything like that. But I would start with the stretches. And then if you can't do anything else, I would start with no weight in the squat and just do it from like a dining room chair or something that's like a sturdy chair, not like a couch, not like a rolling chair, none of that. A sturdy chair and just doing like 3 sets of 10 squats until you feel pretty confident with that in terms of not being terribly sore and you can finish all of those squats. Then maybe you can add in a little bit of weight. But one of my specialties, I know we were talking about all my certifications, but kind of through that, I've learned that, and this is also why my studio is named what it is, but you need to have a bit of a balanced approach to your fitness. It can't just be one thing. So you can't just do strength training and you also can't just do yoga. You kind of need to do all of it to get that full picture of fitness. But I do suggest, trying to do 20 to 30 minutes of walking if you're just getting started. That's a really easy place to begin. And then maybe after walking, trying 2 or 3 of the stretches that were said, even if it's just in a chair doing the side bends or trying to work on the open books while seated. I think that's a great kind of starting point, and then you can always add on from there.
Okay, awesome. That is always my biggest barrier for when we get back into these, let's get in shape times is that, I'll go whole hog and then I'm done for like days and days at a time because I can't move. And then I'm just mad and it just is a whole cycle. But I have one more thing. I really just want you to agree with me because I know I'm right.
Careful on this answer.
Water is key.
Oh, okay.
Water
So,
is key.
yeah,
Water
I
is key.
know that it helps with the muscle recovery and all of that. But
So my real question is, did you all talk before? This has been set up the whole time?
No, we did not talk, but actually one of my certifications is in the melt method. And if nobody knows what I'm talking about, I give you, this is meltmethod.com. Go check it out. But they
MELT.
focus on mobility through using, actually I have one sitting right here, through using really soft compressive foam rollers. So like you can actually like squeeze this one. It's not like super dense. But they always say that, and I add these into my programs, but this is part of that recovery. So, using the foam roller at the very end of working out to either roll out some areas that feel tight or do specific treatments with the melt roller. But they focus on 8 to 16 ounces of water immediately following a workout or a melt treatment to help rehydrate your fascia tissue. Without getting into too much science there, your fascia is basically all of the white tissue throughout your body, and everything is connected. So if any of our fling golfers are dealing with chronic pain, this is something that you can do in just 10 minutes a day, but the water is super important for that.
He's laughing because we've discussed said things.
All right, are you done?
Yeah, no, that's all I wanted. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor.
Oh, wow. That's going to be great stuff.
Great stuff. You're learning so much. We're all learning so much.
I'm probably the definition of an old person who's inflamed in every joint.
Inflammation is a big thing. Yeah.
She tells me that if I would drink more water, it would help with that. But,
it does.
Water, it just tastes awful.
Yeah, you got to find ways to like trick your body into like wanting it. Like,
I like sweet tea. Like it's mostly water.
It is, but it's not. Maybe water it down more, that helps.
All right. So I have two questions as we move towards wrapping things up here. And first of all, you have done incredible. I mean, I am so excited about the knowledge you've brought and explanation for everybody. So this is going to be a great segment. So I have gotten into some slam ball training.
Okay.
Specifically for, I believe, that moment of where we're all trying to explode the fling stick through, and I could be wrong, but I believe, just from my science background and teaching science and teaching physics, that there is a window right over top of us where the fling head speed, there's an angled arc above us that I believe is from 15 degrees behind vertical to 15 degrees in front of vertical. That is the most critical point in generating the most head speed to get the ball out the furthest. With that, it's like that moving through that particular zone above your head. I've kind of thought, if I can train to throw the slam ball and work on throwing that with as much force as I can, also for the fast twitch of it, like, does that make sense in your mind as a fitness person, or is that just some gimmick I've convinced myself is good?
Okay. Well, let's have a little discussion here, because I think it's interesting.
Okay.
And honestly, until we've got some like case studies and that kind of thing, it's all hypothesis, right? Because we don't have any sort of tech information readings on any of this. We could. That's actually a goal of mine, would be to somehow have a science study around fling golf throws. But what I've kind of thought of is that actually that starts further back than up here. Now your hands could be closer to where you're saying, and maybe I'm not visualizing it the same way, but I always think of it in terms of like, as you start to initiate, like maybe your hands are more like here whenever it starts to have like that little bit of flex coming in. And then definitely from like here to here, that's like that big pull section.
Correct. Yes.
Now
No,
I've done medicine ball.
I'm on board. I'm on board with you, what you're talking about. I believe it's key. The further I can reach back and the longer I can make the path of the fling stick, the more chance I have to throw it further. So I'm 100% behind what you're saying. I just know if you study the actual mechanics of a trebuchet, that the trebuchet moves slowly in the beginning until the weight that's moving the trebuchet hits a certain point, and then there's this moment of increased velocity it's a very short window. I mean, I think it all goes together, but that was the logic behind the slam.
So I've trained with slam balls as well as I think it's the TRX Rip Trainer. I don't know if you've seen that out there. So I've done training with, like, me and Austin have done it together, just kind of seeing like what we thought was the best way to train for that. Now the Rip Trainer I like because you can kind of change the angle in where you're pulling. So you can make it really low so that you're having to extend all the way back and then kind of pull up through. Now, the only problem with the Rip Trainer is you can't really get past here. Like, it doesn't allow you to get past here. But it is nice to work on that kind of beginning section of the throw.
It's great for the initial portion of the swing.
Yeah, and really trying to increase the speed in which you can throw. Sorry, my dog is being a caged animal right now, literally.
Run out of patience.
Yeah, so we've used that, and then to kind of finish out the motion, I've done like a medicine ball from the side body to actually bringing it up and then twisting and bringing it down. So
now, do you throw it, or are you just doing the rotation?
I'm throwing it. Yeah, I'm throwing.
So after you rotate, you slam it.
Yes, and slight disclaimer, if anybody wants to do that, like, I do recommend you have a base level of fitness first.
No,
I don't want them to tear anything, so just be cautious. And you don't have to throw anything higher than, like, honestly, like 10 pounds is like fine. You really don't have to do that much weight, I think. But the motion and trying to be quick on it, that can also help with some of that speed.
No, I want to have another caveat. You need to be in a little bit of shape before you do that motion.
Yeah. I think actually in my program that I have made, like basically Austin's program that I put out there, I don't think we did that until maybe like week 4 to 6. Like, that was not something that we did basically from him going couch to FlingGolf Fit, I would say.
There you go.
And he could maybe correct me on that sometime he's on if he knows more than I do. I can't really remember. But I'm pretty sure we didn't do that for at least, I don't know, a couple weeks. So we trained the core a little bit more. We're working on those planks. We were working on those Russian twists, squats, that kind of thing first.
So like when I describe to people about fling golf, we get a lot of, we get a lot of hate, to be honest, sometimes. But like, if you're really trying to play at a high level, I try to tell people, you don't understand how violent the fling golf throw is if you are really trying to throw it out there as far as you can. Like it involves every muscle group, I think, in your entire body, because you are trying to fire everything at the right moment to create that velocity in the head. And like, it's not for, throwing it far is not for the weak at heart.
No, it's definitely not. And I've explained it to people like, when you're playing golf, the club changes. So that's what changes how far you're hitting it. You don't really have to change your swing.
Let the club do the work.
Yeah, the club does all the work. And, golf's designed that way. But fling golf is designed in a way that you are the club, basically. You have a club, but you're the one deciding, am I able to throw 200? Am I able to throw 130? Am I throwing 110? Am I throwing 70? Like, whatever it is. Right. And having to throttle up or throttle down in your own body. And I think until people have played it, they just don't understand that. And that's like so crazy when you think of it from an outside perspective, trying to get people to understand it.
Yep, you nailed it. You nailed it. All right. Well, I know your dog is getting antsy.
Oh my God,
So,
she's like so over it.
so, so we will wrap things up here. Again, thank you so much for taking the time and your knowledge to share with everybody. So, like I told you in the intro or before we came on, so our goal is to take what you've said, and Mrs. Hardcore and myself tomorrow are going to start doing these 9 exercises or stretches.
Okay.
We're going to video some of them
Okay.
for everybody's comedic relief. And you can evaluate how well she does it and how poor I probably do it. But that way we can also then put out there after this interview, people can get some type of visual of what each of those things looks like. And then I'd love for you to give us some critique and follow up once we get some of those videos out.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that's great. I hope you guys, I hope you enjoy your core training. I think give it a chance. I think you're going to love it.
Well, I might love it by the time we get to Old South, because that'll be 4.5 weeks. Then I might be feeling better by then. But I promise you, this week I am not going to love anything other than the lower body stuff. Like, I'm going to love that. But the rest of your segment is basically, I feel like it's just punishment for me.
You have to keep a positive mind. The body responds to what the mind says. So if you
tell myself how much I love it.
Yes, you go, wow, I just love this exercise so much. I'm so happy that Britt taught me this and that I'm doing it and I'm going to gain yardage from it. Like, come on, who doesn't want that?
Me.
You don't want more yardage?
No, I don't want to do it. I want more yardage. I don't want to do it.
Basically what you're saying is you want to do it. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to close with? Anybody you want to thank or shout out or anything before we let you go today?
I want to thank you guys for having me on. I love talking about all things fitness. I think I don't get to talk about it that much to people who will listen. So other than the clients I have who pay me for this knowledge, but yeah, so, I like
Speaking of that, let's just say somebody sees this and there's FlingGolfer who would like to work with you individually. Mm-hmm. Like, that is the thing, right? You do that?
Yes. Yeah. I can create.
How would somebody go about doing something like that with you?
So if they want to email me at britt@brittmariefitness.com, I'll get back to them. They can also, if they're in the FlingGolf players group or have my Facebook or Instagram, feel free to DM me on there. And then we can kind of get started. But yeah, I think investing in your health is definitely always worth it. Not even if it's just for FlingGolf. If it's for your general health and wellness, it's always worth it. And there's always things you can do without a gym as well. You can do stuff at home. Like I said, starting small. And yeah, I love to work with anybody who's looking to make a change.
Yeah. Well, listen, I can already tell from just this 45 minutes with you that your knowledge base is humongous, and you definitely know what you're doing. So guys, listen, if you start down this path and you think you might want to have more individualized help, we'll help you get a hold of Britt at brittmariefitness.com.
Yes.
And we'll get you set up with her. I know she'd love to work with you, and I know that she would do a great job. So, all right, guys. So that's going to wrap up this section. Again, thank you, Britt, for being with us. And we're going to let you go, and we're going to wrap up the show.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys. So another great take two we've had with Britt at brittmariefitness.com there about how you can get in better shape, not only for FlingGolf, but just in general as well. So again, we're going to continue to come to you with some of these follow-up segments that we had issues with the audio the other night. So that way you can still get some of the awesome information. And I just want to say what I've noticed just in the brief amount of time that we've been doing these live streams and these videos is we have a tremendous amount of talent in the FlingGolf community. And everybody that we've talked to, whether it's on here, or whether it's online, or whether it's just texting back and forth, we have a lot of gifted people in the FlingGolf family. And I feel like if we can start tapping into everybody's gifts, and work together, we have a fantastic opportunity with the group of people we have together right now to really push this fling golf sport out there and to really get more eyes on it in a positive way. And it's not just some gimmick for people who supposedly can't play traditional golf, which, by the way, a lot of us can play traditional golf extremely well. Also, we just choose and like to play fling golf in addition. So, so again, guys, I think if you have a skill or something maybe we don't know about, maybe get a hold of us. We can help try to highlight what you bring to the fling golf family as well, just like we did with Tim with all the math and all the point stuff. We did today with Britt with all the fitness and all the training stuff. I feel like we're going to build this community from within, and I feel like that's the best opportunity we all have to make fling golf mainstream and really blow it up. So, guys, appreciate everybody tuning in. And with that, hardcore out.